Welcome back to Legally Speaking. I'm Melanie Van Orde, paralegal at Aitken Robertson. And with me, as always, is our founder and criminal defense lawyer, Richard Aitken. So today's topic is one that many people don't think about until they're dealing with it. Where do I get the Back on Track program and the Ignition Interlock installed? Because once your case is done, there is still a process before you can legally drive again.
That's right, Melanie. Getting a DUI doesn't end with your court date. If you're convicted, you may well have to take the Back on Track program and also get the interlock installed. As well, even if it doesn't relate to an actual DUI charge or conviction, if you've had a couple of roadside fails or a couple of roadside fails and also being charged with a DUI, you might have to take Back on Track and maybe even also get Ignition Interlock installed as well.
Okay, so let's start with the Back on Track program. What is it and who has to do it?
Basically, as I've indicated, anyone who's been convicted of a DUI, together with people, as I've said, who have some fails on the warrants when they're pulled over by the police, have to take this program. It's put on by CAMH. That's the Canadian Association of Mental Health. They have various programs and program providers locally.
So, and what does it involve?
Basically, it's a session relating to an assessment as to what your needs are and what you should be taking to deal with any particular issues you have as to drinking and driving and so on. And there's also a class component. There's different parts to this, Melanie. There's an assessment interview. There's an educational aspect, a program, depending on the results of the assessment. Of course, there's also a follow-up interview. The whole process can take several months, but it's important to get started early. Our general recommendation is people start and enroll within a week following any conviction. If you wait too long, it's quite possible things get delayed and you might not qualify for the program.
And now the Ignition Interlock device. That's a little breathalyzer that people have to blow into to get their car to start, right?
That's right. And for most impaired driving convictions, you would have to get it installed for either 9 or 12 months, depending on the circumstance. If you're in stream A, it would be 9 months. If you're in stream B, it would be 12 months. And you have to do this so that ultimately you're able to drive again. Basically, to drive again, you have to successfully complete the Back on Track program. But don't worry, there's really no exam. You simply have to show up and be attentive and not cause any nuisance. You have to arrange to have the Ignition Interlock device installed and do up any follow-up after that. When you have the actual Ignition Interlock device installed in your car, your driver's license will have an I component to it, a quote unquote I. And it's important that once you fulfill all the criteria, you've done the Back on Track aspect, you've done the interlock program, and it's finished, you actually apply to the Ministry of Transport to get the I designation removed. Otherwise, you have to drive with interlock, even though you've completed the program. And if they stop you and you don't have interlock in it, it's a bit of a problem for you. You can actually be charged.
So you just can't you can't just start driving again once the suspension ends?
It'd be a common mistake. You need to apply to get this I condition, I for interlock, removed from your license.
Okay, so the big question is, where do you go to do all of this?
Let's break it down, Mel. Back on Track to start with, you can register online at www.remedial.net, so REMEDIAL.net, or call the Back on Track program at 1-888-814-5831. They'll direct you to your local service provider for the assessment and sessions. They're all across Ontario, basically. Any place where you've got a court, you're probably going to have a local provider, whether you're in Peterborough or Oshawa or Toronto or Kingston or Cornwall, Niagara Falls, they're all going to have a local provider. So you call the toll-free number or check online, you'll be able to find both where to take the Back on Track course and following that, where you get Ignition Interlock installed.
And then the Ignition Interlock devices, are they installed by MTO approved providers?
That's right. The MTO does not do it directly themselves. They have some approved providers in Ontario. It's Smart Start, Guardian Interlock. I think Guardian was the actual originator in Ontario, and Alcohol Countermeasure Systems, ACS. Each of these particular businesses, and they are businesses, have offices throughout Ontario, and you can get a particular device installed depending on which is closer to you and which is available sooner. You may pick and choose what works best for yourself.
And how soon should someone start the process?
If you are convicted, hopefully you're not, but if you are, you want to start right away. As I said, we generally encourage clients to reach out and contact the Ministry of Transport and the service providers within a week, especially in the back on track. You need to get an early start to that. Otherwise, you'll lose your opportunity to get in the Stream A and getting your license back sooner than you otherwise would.
Then what are some of the common mistakes people make?
Well, as I said, the big one really is waiting too long, which can take you right out of the program, not realizing what, in fact, they need to do in spite of the material the person's lawyer might have given them, what material is online and resources they would have received if convicted from the MTL and from the court. You need to read the stuff, and it sets out what exactly you have to do and the time limits within which you need to do that. Also following the interlock rules. For instance, if you had a few drinks and decide you're going to drive, well, your car is not going to work. But more importantly than that, the interlock device is going to keep track of what you did, right? And you do this a few times, Interlock's going to know, because every month or so they recalibrate your device to make sure it's still working properly. And they see that 5 times you tried to operate your car when you've been drinking, it's going to be a problem. And probably your period of interlock is going to be extended.
Richard, do you have a final message for our viewers?
Be prepared, be organized, speak to your lawyer, contact the MTO, contact the interlock providers, and back on track. If you do everything properly, you would be driving sooner than you probably thought you would be.
Well, thank you so much for watching Legally Speaking. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell for more legal tips from the team at Aitken Robertson. Thank you so much for joining, Richard.
Thanks, Mel. See you again.
See you again. Thank you for tuning in to Legally Speaking, proudly brought to you by Aitken Robertson Criminal Defence. We represent clients facing criminal charges all over Ontario, providing you with legal support and dedicated advocacy. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more content, please like and subscribe to our channel. For more information, visit our website. We also offer free books on various types of criminal charges, which you can request on our website or by using the QR codes on your screen now. For legal assistance, call us today or visit our website to request a meeting with one of our experienced lawyers or licensed paralegals. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Legally Speaking.